Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I have for you another 1 vs 1 between members of the realm. We have Kikser and ii-DuTchMiKeyy on this rather interesting planet. Has a sort of small pond and a large ocean. We've got ii-DuTchMiKeyy versus Kikser, as I said. ii-DuTchMiKeyy spawned on the south. Looks like the south and north pole colours have changed over. That's interesting. Now, Kikser and ii-DuTchMiKeyy have spawned reasonably close. ii-DuTchMiKeyy has some interesting expansion there, and he's going for all of this. All of that stuff there. I just had my shift key glitching out again, as it does on PA for some reason. He's got a bot factory and an air factory queued up, so he's going to get the initial workers or scouters out, and then some fireflies, and potentially pushing up teching with some air factories later. Kikser over here has also got a similar amount of expansion capabilities, already getting up his bot factory, and has planned an energy storage and an air factory later as well. Interesting to see whether these players go for scampers first or fabricators. ii-DuTchMiKeyy only just getting up his first bot factory. Kikser going for a bot fabricator first, so probably going to get lots more eco initially compared to more militaristic strategy. The ii-DuTchMiKeyy could potentially be employing. No, he's gone for a fabricator as well. So we have all of this potential placement here, except we've got some interesting area commands there for some energy and some mechs as well, plus an additional 2 factories. I expect vehicle factories that'll be coming out there. A lot of fabricators continuing to be pressed out. Commander there gone to his air factory first, and then he'll continue with a bit more energy. This bot over here going for energy because obviously working on this, producing from this factory, making this factory, and that mechs is going to be consuming a lot of energy. And no, instead he's gone for that mechs over there. Okay, that's interesting as well. ii-DuTchMiKeyy, on the other hand, has gone for a similar strategy, just cancelled his air factory, and has instead gone for a vehicle factory. He's still getting out fabricators, he's not yet gone for scampers, but we have all of this metal queued up over here, and a very long line of energy. He's obviously used the mod for line commands for his energy. That is something very interesting indeed. We have a firefly coming out here from Kikser. Quite a good time in the game there to be getting that out, and scampers beginning to walk along as well. I should probably point out again that scampers are the same as doxes. I just prefer to call them scampers because I got so used to it during the alpha, and I am something of a nostalgic. So that is what I will be referring to them as until we get into some of the more tournament games, at which point I will begin to use their real names, just in case you guys, might prefer a more professional type of casting in as far as actually using correct terminology. Now, Kikser there managing to scout ii-DuTchMiKeyy just a little bit. Did he actually manage to scout ii-DuTchMiKeyy? Yes, he did. That's fortunate indeed. Just about. So he knows where ii-DuTchMiKeyy has spawned. ii-DuTchMiKey's commander is out here in the open, getting some more mechs and a couple of factories as well. ii-DuTchMiKeyy has not yet scouted Kikser. Kikser can now potentially adapt his build strategy and maybe move some more factories closer this way and begin to use this choke point to his advantage. But we do now have a vehicle factory coming out from ii-DuTchMiKeyy, starting to produce ants already, reasonably rapidly as well, I should point out. I think there, that ant was moving incredibly fast. That's not an ant, that's why. It's because it's a blooming skitter. I was going to say that ant was moving incredibly fast, but of course the icons white on white isn't the best, if I'm honest. I think the icons still need a little bit of work in terms of that colour contrast. But here now comes the skitter, just managing to scout Kikser, although it only manages to scout the scampers. So he knows there's a couple of scampers coming in from this general direction, so he can probably work out that Kikser is spawned somewhere in either this metal clump right here or somewhere over there. Because, of course, spawns must have at least 5 mechs points, and so it is relatively easy to guess or judge where potential spawns could be. Now these scampers here are going to move in. They're going to get in just after that thing has that anti-air has completed, so that's going to lay down a bit of damage to them. It might even prevent this entire raid altogether, but if they can stay out of its range they could potentially take this mech down, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. They're going to lose all 3 scampers. Potentially, no, he's going to keep 1 alive, and no, he's going to lose all 3. There we go, so he's only done minimal damage to this mechs. But other than that, a waste of 3 scampers. That was unfortunate. However, we do now see 2 more bot factories going up simultaneously, so Kikser is obviously going very heavy on the bot side. He's going to still continue to expand with all of this mechs over here. ii-DuTchMiKeyy sort of scouting with this skitter up this end. And indeed, Kikser going for this large ocean control as well. If he potentially can get some advanced naval in here, he can lay waste to this base in no time. Now let's take this little time to say that this is a single planet system, Yugomard, with 160 mex points. Rather interesting name for a planet. Yugomard. Yugomard.
Hey, you guys want to go on vacation? Yeah, I'll go to Yugomard. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Okay, well, anyway, we'll leave that scenario behind us. While we get back to the game, we also have a radar coming up now from ii-DuTchMiKeyy, who's beginning to get lots of ants out now onto the correct side of his base to defend against potential scampers whose debris for some reason appears to be floating. I'm not sure if you saw that on the camera. Way, pole lock. I need to sort that out as well. But there were bits of floating debris. Now that doesn't matter because we do have now 3 ant factories, 4 and another few beginning to be put together up here to support the economic expansion. The commander going quite out on his own over there, which is an interesting move because while Kikser will be distracted by this main base and these waves of ants that are coming in, the commander is going to be continually expanding further and further back. So as long as Kikser keeps up his scouting initiative, he'll be able to tell exactly where that commander is, and it looks as though these hummingbirds are doing exactly just that. Unless they're just going to come back in and scout. No, they're going to come back in and scout. They're going to see this ant force coming in. He's going to be able to now potentially divert to bumblebees, or at least hopefully get some units to defend against these ants. Here come the scampers now, all forming up on this line. We have anti-air here, so that's also going to lay some damage to these. These 5 ants are not going to get through. Hummingbirds there, very well used, keeping good tabs on where those ants were at most stages of their entry, losing a couple of scampers there, but taking out the entire force before any structures are destroyed, any eco is raided, etc, etc. But now we have some more ants coming in from the other side. Are these hummingbirds going to be picked off? That is a question. Are they going to see them? That is another question. Indeed they do, but the hummingbirds are beginning to get shot down. I wonder whether he'll notice that. He does, and the scampers are moving across now. The hummingbirds, 2 of them get away. These ants now forming up with some more scampers, so this is where we're going to start seeing a little bit of action now, because while the commander is free expanding over here, Kikser is expanding into the ocean and is putting up some more eco, but he's staying huddled in this main spawn base area. He's not lost his commander off, gone on a wild goose chase, or even hunting for Narnia. But, you know, you never know. The entrance to Narnia might lie on this planet somewhere. Yugomard. Sounds dubious enough to house an entrance to Narnia. Anyway, we have lots of scampers now from Kikser. We also have lots of ants now coming out as well, 3 at a time. So that's 5 bot factories and 3 ant factories, 3 vehicle factories rather. Now 4 with another further 3 queued up. ii-DuTchMiKeyy, on the other hand, has a huge number of ant factories queued up, and he's looking to do some flanking here, which is very interesting indeed, around this small pond, bordering on this crevasse. That is going to be very, very good if he can get that unnoticed. But Kikser is putting up a few factories here. If he can get those up in time and start pumping out units, that can potentially save all of his eco. But what he might want to do is maybe put up a couple of anti-air there. Are these hummingbirds going to see the force? No, they aren't. Are they going to come back down and be able to see this? No, they're not. They're going to continue further up. So this could potentially be a very powerful stealth strike against Kikser from ii-DuTchMiKeyy around this pond. But the factories are now going up, and as long as these guys get up and start pumping out units very, very soon, this might be able to be staved off. But don't forget, large amount of Kikser's force at the moment is scampers, and they do have that greater mobility to be able to cross from one side of the base to the other at a second's notice. So we do still have that defensive capability, but more anti-air going up on the front lines, cheaper and faster to produce than point defense, I believe. Single point, that is. Well, both of them, I believe. But now we do have these two vehicle factories here coming out, and another one as well coming out with that commander. I'm going to hit my caps lock there, so we're going to permanently see their build queues. Lots more factories continuously in this line over here. We do have a huge number of ants now, and do we see the scout on them? No, the hummingbirds are here. They don't see anything. Now they do. Now they see a huge force of ants. You see these here, they don't want to land. They're just about to land. They don't want to land. You don't want them to land because they're all going to die. They all died. Oh dear. You really want to move those away. The scampers are now moving in, followed up by ants. Hummingbirds over there. They really want to come around the other side of this pond because these ants here might be beginning to move. Kikser saying, I know, right? I'm not entirely sure what that was in reply to. But he's now going up for advanced bots, so we'll see some advanced eco and potentially some slammers coming out as well. But now we see this ant force moving in. Kikser hasn't got the scout on this, and his ant force is on the other side of the pond. But as I said, these factories are now producing, so these ants will be able to stave off a little bit of, you know, a sort of meat shield, as it were, against this very large force of ants now that's just about to move in, and then maybe some scamper reinforcements can come in, but they need to start moving now. The commander needs to get there now, otherwise they are not going to be able to defend this. You've got 5 ants against probably what looks like about 30 at least. 30, potentially even 40, and now the attack moves in. Now he sees that, he moves a few ants away. He needs to start moving his units across now, otherwise they're not going to get there in time, and these factories are going to go down. Another ant comes out, desperately tries to defend, manages to take one out, doesn't do any further damage. Another 2 ants come out, manage to take down another ant from ii-DuTchMiKeyy, who now actually lays siege to these 3 factories. Are they going to get another ant out? Definitely not another 3, potentially another 2, potentially another 1. But Kikser being intelligent there, and rather than rushing in, he's grouping his forces up. Always a good idea. You do not want them in single file, especially not against an ant blob like this. Scampers aren't particularly useful against an ant blob like this, in fact. And indeed, he realises this and doesn't want to move them too close, but he does lose them all instead anyway. And now these ant blobbers moving towards this energy field. They want to try and counter this before the energy field is reached. Otherwise the eco is going to hurt from Kikser. Commander moving in now along with a few ants. Kikser's ant force here didn't manage to get in too far. Managed to take down a mech, but then get staved off because ii-DuTchMiKeyy has such a large expansion and production capabilities. But now Kikser's base is starting to feel the pain. He's lost a bot factory, he's lost a couple of mechs, he's lost half of his energy in that initial build there. He's losing more mechs, he's about to lose his air factory as well, so that scouting is going to be delayed. Although, interestingly, he hasn't targeted the air factory, or maybe the priority's a little bit off. But now this is where the ants around comes in, and Kikser is going to be able to defend this very well indeed. And those ants from ii-DuTchMiKeyy are gone. However, we have a follow-up assault force on 2 fronts. We've got one from nearer the southwest, and also from the east, between the ponds. Come along, pond. But now we have a lot more factories here, getting queued up. I wonder what's going to actually be producing those. But if those factories don't get produced now, then they aren't going to be pumping out enough ants to be able to deal with these follow-up forces, because they are now going to get increasingly large in magnitude. And we've got further and further expansion up north. Excuse me, my mouse was playing up there and losing its sensitivity, so I just had to make sure the dust was out. We have advanced naval here. This is what I was talking about. You see that little debris there? I'm not sure what that's doing. But if he can get that up, he could potentially move some around here and lay siege to this base. Unfortunately, there is a pelter here, just in case that is going on. So very intuitive there from ii-DuTchMiKeyy. Doing some scouting of his own, seeing these factories going up and realising, maybe I should push in, but potentially be slightly more conservative about it because there is this ant blob here. Now, something that is of concern to me is Kikser's eco at the moment. He's using 5 naval fabricators to produce this advanced naval. He's continually pumping out ants and scampers and fabricators, and also trying to produce this advanced bot factory, which is not going up as fast as it should. And these fabricators also are going up incredibly slowly, so I think he might be out of energy at this point. And he's also got all of these focusing down on these factories here. So his eco is obviously hurting, but here come a load of scampers taking out so much mechs. Potentially here from ii-DuTchMiKeyy are going to take out the Pelter as well with ease. There's no forces can be scrambled to defend against that loss. So now he's going to realise, yes, I've managed to stop that and be able to keep his viability of his naval bombardment there from that little bay. But now these scampers, they need some scouting, so they see this ant blob, but they have managed to deviate it and delay it back from this choke point here, which is also very good because that means he's managed to buy himself more time to get up his defences back in his base. Even though those scampers did die, he took out 7 mechs, Pelter, radar, and bought himself time, which is incredibly good in this game. He's also now managed to get up most of these factories, you see. And here's some more debris here just floating in orbit. Anyway, got slightly distracted there. Floating debris makes my day. Anyway, we don't see much economic expansion from Kikser. He really needs to be doing something about that, because ii-DuTchMiKeyy now has map control of over half the planet, or at least that is useful to have map control of. And soon he's going to be flanking Kikser from the north. Kikser, though, does have this ant blob up here to defend against it. Let's see if he's actually scouted all of this up here. No, he hasn't. He hasn't even seen all of these factories up here from ii-DuTchMiKeyy, which is of great concern because he doesn't know his build power. And here come the ant blobs now, coming in for a big old fight. He's going to be wanting to produce these now. He's going to be wanting to move these ants across now. Otherwise it is going to be too late, because we've already lost a couple of ants from Kikser, and he's only traded for 1 ant from ii-DuTchMiKeyy. And now it comes in because there is a little bit of a broadside here from this ant blob, and that defensive blob from Kikser has gone down because of focus fire abilities. These factories with the eco are not going to get out their ants in time, plus they're leaving the factories on the wrong side, half of them. So they're going to be even less useful, and they're actually not even going to be able to be completed on the whole anyway. So all of those factories that were attempted to be put up are going to go down. Unfortunately, not enough time was bought by that little scamper raid, because it was done a little bit too late, I fear, because ii-DuTchMiKeyy now has so much economy and economic expansion that he is now able to flank from 3 sides. I didn't see these coming in from the north. They managed to completely bypass this ant defense here. From Kikser up here as well. They found the commander. Could this be it? He wants to maybe divert these off from here now to heal this commander, otherwise he's going to have trouble. He does get a D-gun off there. These ants are going to be put down, but the commander's too close. He's just shooting over them. Does need a little bit of fixing there as well. Commander now on half health. He needs his healing. Might be a GG here, because these ants are just going to steamroll in. Nothing can defend against it now. There's not enough forces from Kikser. There's not enough in terms of the blobs. ii-DuTchMiKeyy coming in from 3 fronts continued. Kikser realising, oh dear, I think I may have misjudged you, good sir. That is a lot of units. Indeed, let me just give you a full scope and scale of the problem at hand there, Kikser, if you do end up watching this. I do believe the technical term is defeated. But he does say he's been floating his metal. How has your energy been doing, sir? I am curious, because you've been building so much that I just don't think you've had the capability to do so, and this commander now is going to die. You must die. And there he goes. Commander is dead. GG's are called. Kikser reiterating his floating metal. Plus 140, goodness me. I must ask him what his energy was like. Oops. I didn't manage to get to say it, unfortunately. But that was a very interesting game there. ii-DuTchMiKeyy, you can just see the power of continued expansion and unhindered expansion. And I think at this point you really don't want to be using naval, if at all, because it wastes your energy so much to try and get it up, and the actual effectiveness of it, especially on a map like this, with this much expansion, is minimal, especially with such little scouting as there was. I mean, there was only scouting around these little choke points here just to make sure, but nothing from behind. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, folks. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to drop a like or a comment, and always, have a nice day.